Sarah had it all: a loving husband, a beautiful home, and a successful career. She was the epitome of the picture-perfect life. From the outside, it seemed like she had achieved the perfect balance between her personal and professional life. Her life seemed like a dream. She had a picturesque garden where she would spend her mornings, sipping coffee and enjoying the serene environment. She volunteered at a local shelter, went on exotic vacations, and was always the first to lend a helping hand. Her social media was filled with snapshots of her life, each picture more perfect than the last. She had a close-knit group of friends. They would often gather for picnics in the park, or laugh together at outdoor cafes. She posted smiling pictures on social media, capturing moments of joy and success. Her followers would often leave comments like "goals" and "living the dream." She seemed to be the embodiment of confidence and joy, always with a smile on her face. But behind the facade, there was another story. Sarah often found herself lost in thought, staring out of windows or sitting alone in the park. Sarah was fighting a silent battle. The pressures of maintaining her perfect image were taking a toll on her mental health. No one suspected the turmoil beneath the surface. The weight of expectations and the fear of letting people down were overwhelming. Sarah was exhausted, both physically and emotionally. She would look at herself in the mirror, barely recognizing the person staring back at her. She felt like she had to keep up the facade, to be the strong one who had it all together. Admitting her struggles seemed unimaginable, but deep down, Sarah knew that something had to change. She couldn't keep living a lie. The first step was acknowledging her struggles. She was ready to embrace her true self and find a new path forward. By facing her challenges, she could transform her life and inspire others. Each day felt like a performance. Sarah moved through the motions, her life a carefully choreographed dance that masked the turmoil within. She was an actress in her own life, playing a role that no one else could see. Sarah plastered on a smile and sailed through her routine, her laughter echoing hollowly in the corridors of her mind. She was the life of the party, the dependable friend, the diligent worker, yet every smile was a mask, every laugh a lie. But inside, she was crumbling. The weight of her own expectations bore down on her, a silent scream that no one else could hear. She felt like she was drowning in a sea of her own making, each wave pulling her further from the shore. The demands of her high-pressure job left her feeling drained and inadequate. Every task was a mountain, every deadline a storm. She was constantly running, yet never arriving, her energy sapped by the relentless pace. Self-doubt crept in, whispering that she wasn't good enough, smart enough, or successful enough. The mirror became her enemy, reflecting not her achievements, but her perceived failures. She questioned her worth, her abilities, her very existence. She compared herself to others, their achievements magnifying her own perceived shortcomings. Social media was a constant reminder of what she wasn't, a highlight reel of others' successes that deepened her sense of inadequacy. The joy had seeped out of her life, leaving a void filled with anxiety and exhaustion. The things that once brought her happiness now felt like chores, her passions dulled by the constant pressure to be more, do more, achieve more. The things that once brought her pleasure, her hobbies, her friends, even her husband's company, now felt like obligations. She was present in body, but her mind was elsewhere, lost in a fog of worry and self-criticism. She was trapped in a cycle of striving and never arriving, her spirit slowly being crushed under the weight of her own expectations. Each step forward felt like a step back, her goals always just out of reach. The silent scream within her grew louder, a constant reminder of the battle she fought every day. The panic attack hit her like a tidal wave. One minute Sarah was fine, going through the motions of her day, the next she was gasping for air, her heart pounding in her chest. She felt like she was drowning in a sea of her own making, the carefully constructed walls around her crumbling into dust. This was her wake-up call, the moment Sarah realized she couldn't keep living this way. The charade was over. Something had to change. It was time to confront the fear and shame that had kept her bound to this unsustainable version of herself. Sarah took a leave of absence from work. The thought terrified her. What would people think? Would they judge her? But she knew she couldn't heal in the same environment that had broken her. For the first time, she allowed herself to simply be, to breathe, to feel. She stumbled upon mindfulness meditation and found solace in the quiet moments of introspection. She started journaling, pouring her thoughts and feelings onto paper without judgment. Slowly she began to peel back the layers of herself, confronting the pain and the fear that had been buried for so long. There were no grand gestures, no overnight transformations. Sarah's journey was a series of small, deliberate steps towards healing and self-acceptance. She started saying no to commitments that drained her energy. She reconnected with old passions that had fallen by the wayside. She prioritized self-care, making time for long walks in nature, nourishing meals, and restorative sleep. The more she focused on her own well-being, the lighter she felt. The constant need for validation from others began to fade as she discovered her own inner strength and worth. The world seemed brighter, the colors more vibrant, as Sarah allowed herself to experience the simple joys of being alive. The turning point came unexpectedly. Sarah had always been a person who thrived on planning and achieving. She had a checklist for everything, from her career goals to her weekend chores. But despite her meticulous planning, she often felt a void, a sense of something missing. One Sunday morning, Sarah was having coffee with her husband Mark. It was a ritual they had maintained for years, a small pocket of time carved out from their busy lives to connect and unwind. They did this every Sunday, without fail. It was their way of grounding themselves before the start of a new week. But this particular Sunday felt different. This time she was truly present. Instead of letting her mind wander to the tasks ahead, or the worries that usually occupied her thoughts, she focused entirely on the moment. She listened intently to Mark's words, noticing the way his eyes lit up when he talked about his latest project, the subtle inflections in his voice, and the warmth of his hand in hers. She savored the warmth of his hand in hers, feeling a connection that went beyond words. It was as if she was seeing him, truly seeing him, for the first time in a long while. In that moment, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for his presence in her life. She realized how much she had taken these small moments for granted. It was a simple moment, just two people sharing a cup of coffee, but it was filled with a profound sense of joy and contentment. This joy was something she hadn't felt in years. It was pure, unadulterated happiness that came from being fully present and appreciating the now. It was then that Sarah realized that happiness wasn't a destination, it was a choice. It wasn't something to be chased or achieved, but something to be embraced in the here and now. It wasn't about achieving some elusive goal or reaching a milestone. It wasn't about ticking off items on a checklist or living up to someone else's expectations. It was about finding moments of peace and contentment in the everyday, in the ordinary. It was about letting go of the pressure to be perfect and allowing herself to just be. It was about finding joy in the simple act of being fully present in her own life. In the laughter shared over a cup of coffee, in the warmth of a loved one's touch, in the beauty of a quiet morning. Sarah understood that these were the moments that truly mattered. They were the threads that wove the fabric of a fulfilling life. And in that realization, she found a joy that was both profound and enduring. Life wasn't perfect, and Sarah knew it never would be. There would still be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt, but she had emerged from the darkness stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. She had faced her demons and come out on the other side, forever changed by the journey. The fear that had once held her captive now fueled her courage to live a more authentic life. She no longer sought validation from external sources, finding solace and strength in her own self-worth. She embraced her imperfections, knowing that they were part of what made her unique and beautiful. Sarah's story is not unique. It is a story of resilience, of the human spirit's ability to overcome even the darkest of times. It is a reminder that we all have the power to choose joy, even when life throws us curveballs. If you are feeling lost, broken, or overwhelmed, know that you are not alone. Reach out for help. Talk to a trusted friend, family member, or therapist. Embrace vulnerability. Allow yourself to be seen, heard, and supported. Remember that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to your strength and your commitment to your own well-being. Life is a journey, not a destination. Embrace the full spectrum of your experience. Find joy in the ordinary, in the everyday moments that make up the fabric of your life. Start today by taking one small step towards joy, towards healing, towards the best version of yourself.